Hello, it is unacceptably windy today. There's nowhere I can be out there that is not in the wind at some point because the wind direction is changing rapidly. So I'm in here with my slightly dodgy lighting and we'll see how we get on when I can't walk away from the camera to hold stuff up. Speaking of holding stuff up, this came off the loom last night. It took forever. I mean, it didn't take literally forever because I finished it. I know there's at least one very literal person who will say, didn't take forever because you finished it. It took a long time because it's a very thin weft, but it's come out quite well. I haven't twisted the fringes yet because it has pretty much just come off the loom. So the fringes need to be twisted, then I need to wet finish it. So I'll show you next week how it's all come out, but I'll show you maybe a little bit closer up if I can with my lights. So you can see there that that is a very, very fine weft, and that is why it took so long. I think this was on the loom for about 2 weeks. And I really had to put my head down and push through on this one because it's not that I didn't enjoy weaving it, it's just that there wasn't a lot of visible progress, so you don't get that kind of instant gratification thing. But I needed the loom free for something else. So that has come off the loom. It did take nearly forever, and that is ready to be twisted, fringe twisted, and wet finished. And I've also finished off this one, which is looking like that. So that has been wet finished. It has had all its ends trimmed off on there where there should be a fringe. There is no fringe because I've trimmed the ends. Show you a bit closer up. It's also hard to show you things a bit closer up because I have to do some leaning. So that, I'm really pleased with that. It's nice and soft. It's washed up really well. It looks much the same the whole length, but the purples do shift, so I'll give you a glimpse at all of those purples. So that is actually going into a raffle bundle for a market that I'm doing not this week but next week. They're doing a raffle hamper situation, and that will be part of the raffle hamper situation. Now, on the big loom I have something that I'm not going to show you yet because I haven't lashed it on yet. It is just sitting there waiting for me to do something with it, and it's been sitting there for a week waiting for me to do something with it. I will get onto it. I'll show you next week. I probably won't have finished it next week, so I will show you next week. On the little loom, which I have just over here, this went on, the warp went on last night, and I've started weaving on it today because I had to go and get some yarn. It was terrible having to go and buy more yarn. I was very upset. This is what's on the little loom at the minute, and I don't know if you can tell, but it is shades of green. So it is random stripes. There's no pattern to the stripes in the warp. It's just whatever happened. It's actually 2 yarns, but it looks like more because one of the yarns is that sort of olivey green there that I've got in the middle. I don't know if you can hear me because that tends to block the mic. And then these stripes are another yarn that was just a long colour shift of different greens. So that's going quite well. I've got a little pickup stick pattern happening just there. Am I in shot? Yep, just there. So I've got 3 of those on each side and then just plain weave in the middle. This 3 on each side thing is a nice trick if you haven't planned it properly, because I tend not to. Because getting this pattern evenly across the piece requires a certain number of threads in your warp, and I don't plan for that, so then I can just do borders and it looks fine and it looks like I planned it. I don't have a pickup stick for this little loom, so I'm using my other shuttle because the pickup stick that I do have is for my 60 centimetre loom, and it's a little bit of overkill on this little one. So that's just my other shuttle acting as my pickup stick, and it hasn't fallen out, so I'm quite pleased about that. So that is quite fresh on the loom, although I do think the hem stitching is actually, there it is. The hem stitching is about there. So it is, as usual, fresh on the loom, but it's coming along quite quickly, or that might just be compared to how long this took, which took almost forever. I'm pleased with this, it just took a long time. So that's it for the weaving. I'm going to put that down very elegantly and professionally over there. Now, the crochet cardigan situation. I have to be careful here because ordinarily when I finish crocheting for the evening, I hold the last stitch in place with a stitch marker so that it doesn't all unravel when I pull it out of my bag. And I didn't do that last night, so it might all unravel when I pull it out of my bag. Let's see. I'm into some of the more, oh, don't you do it. There we go. There we go, I've saved the day. I'm in a tangle, but I've saved the day. I'm into the decorative bits. That's a technical term. just going to turn that round. Don't lose your hook. So what I have at the moment is this pattern developing, which is these clusters, these shell clusters. They're not quite shells, are they? They are clusters though. Moving up on the diagonal, and that's sort of creating a web as well. So I've got, what am I up to there? I'm doing some counting. So I've got 4 done. So I've got 4 of that pattern. I'm pointing at the wrong side. You can't see what I can see. So I've got 4 up here. I need to, no I haven't, I've got 5. I can count, I've got 5, so I need another 2 rows, 2 rounds of that, and then we're moving on to some other stitches. But that's just giving that diagonal. I can't really hold this up fully because I'm sitting down, but that's how it's looking, if you can see anything there. These shell patterns, they're not really shells though, are they? I don't know why I keep saying shells, are a little bit tight, but they do loosen off if I give them a bit of a flatten, so it should be okay. It should be okay, I'm not frogging it again. So that is how that is looking. It's got a ways to go. I've got, as I said, 2 more rounds of this shell repeat. It's not a shell, stop saying it's a shell. I've got 2 more rounds of this cluster repeat, and then I've got a couple of rounds of more V-stitches like these ones, and then we're getting into the outer decoration, the outer rounds decorations, which is all triangles and fancy bits. And then I've got sleeves, so it's not going to be soon. It's not going to be soon, but it is going to get finished. I've been working on it for 10 weeks now, I noticed, according to my Instagram. So that's about right for 10 weeks for me. I'm not quick. But that is what I have for you this week. Yes, that is it. I've got my thing on the loom, which is going along nicely. This is going along nicely. This needs wet finishing. One of the benefits of being inside is I do actually have a table. That's going to get finished. That is finished. So we're moving along swiftly. The thing on the big loom might actually be off the big loom by next week, but then I can show it to you and there'll be something else on the big loom. I have a large weaving order. I don't tend to take commissions. I don't tend to take specific orders, but this is for a friend, so I'm being nice, and so I've got a lot of weaving to do. And work keeps expecting me to work, which is irritating. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I got to that point again where I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to say that's enough for this week. I'm going to put this back in the bag without unraveling it. I'm so proud of myself. And I will see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.